I'm gonna say something so simple, but if you actually want to survive long enough to make money in options trading, in futures trading, in whatever market you trade, you have to learn how to end on a good note. Not a high note, not when you start to feel invincible and you start to feel super successful and you have this ego about you. Not end when you're all hyped up and you're feeling like you're the smartest person in the earth. I'm telling you right now, if you do not learn how to stop trading, you will never be able to make it. Because money is the reward. Money is the reward that you get for your patience, for your skill, for your knowledge. Ego is not your reward. And I'm going to tell you that your bills don't take ego as a form of payment. Neither do your credit cards or any of your expenses. And most traders don't lose because they don't know how to make money. You know how to trade. They lose because they don't know how to stop making trades. You just don't know when to stop trading. And that's what this specific video is going to be all about. If you're interested in hearing what I have to say, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like this video, because we're not talking about entries, we're not talking about strategies, we're not talking about indicators or charts, because you already know how to trade. It's about learning where to stop. I often hear this with my students in application after application for my coaching. So it's about learning where to stop, and more importantly, learning why thus far you might have refused to stop and you just feel like you just can't stop. There's this invisible pull that's been pulling you into trades. I'm gonna break this video down into sections. This first section is titled "The Skill That Nobody Talks About." You have to watch the whole video to get the full idea. But there's a skill that nobody talks about in trading. It is not risk management, although I make videos on that too. I think it's super important, but it's also not discipline. It's not patience. I've made videos about all of these things, but what's so much more important is the ability to stop trading when you're already in profit. I don't really ever see traders that don't know how to trade. It's that they make a lot of money, they make profit, and it sounds really ridiculous, but then they just lose it all. And most accounts weren't blown just from already losing. They were blown from winning. You blow an account means you're losing money. You can't lose money you didn't make. So you made money and then you went and lost it. So people are making money. It's happening every single day. And then they're giving that money back to the market. And sometimes a little bit more than you would like to. Then you make more and then you give that back too. So eventually what's going to happen is you hit a drawdown that is so deep and you collapse psychologically and you start to force trades to get that money go back green. We're going to avoid all this, because the real question is not how do I make money, because you already have a strategy and you already know how to make money because you already know how to trade. The question is, how do I keep myself from undoing what I already made in the market? How do I keep the profit that I have already secured? The profit that's already mine? And the answer is not more rules. The answer is not more willpower. You cannot willpower yourself to securing more money. The answer is not more motivation and more speeches and more talks. It's about learning the one skill nobody talks about, which is learning how to end on a good note. I can make 50 videos about this one topic, but we're going to go into section number 2 to break it down a little more deeply, which is money is the reward, not your ego. If we are being really brutally honest, most of you are not trading for money. You might think you are. You might be telling yourself you are, but you're not. You're trading for emotional resolution. It sounds like a big word, but you're just trying to resolve your emotions through trading, right? You're trading to feel an emotion. You're trying to feel right. You're trying to feel smart. You're trying to feel powerful. You're trying to redeem yourself, feel like you're in control. And that's why you don't stop, because you need to resolve that emotion, and you're choosing to do it through trading. And when you stop trying to trade, it feels like you're quitting on the emotion that you're trying to resolve. And stopping feels like a literal weakness. Stopping feels like you're leaving something on the table, which is not true, because your bills, the expenses you're required to pay every single month, do not care about any of that at all. Your landlord does not accept confidence as a form of payment. Chase, Amex, Wells Fargo, Navy Federal, no credit card company is going to accept good intentions. Oh, I tried to keep my profit. I tried. No, the grocery store, Publix and Kroger are not going to accept vibes as a form of payment. They take money, they take dollars. So in trading, I want you to remember that trading is not about anything else besides money being the reward. So every time you keep trading, after you said you would stop, you are choosing ego over income. That's it. So that's the trade you're actually making. The third section I want to discuss is that trading is 180 degrees of what feels good. 180 degrees means reverse. So here's what most people get wrong in trading. Most traders, they try to trade the way that most people live. In life, optimism is rewarded. Positive thinking helps you. It keeps you in a good spirit, a good vibration, a good frequency, right? You want to focus on the things that motivate you, and you want to focus on that silver lining, the sunset, right? In life, being pessimistic feels very toxic, but in trading, it's literally the opposite. And when I learned this actually in business, but I applied it to trading and it works here too. Because if you try to be optimistic in trading, you're going to die. If you think every trade's going to work in your favor, you're going to die. If you ignore the downside in trading, you're going to die. If you only focus on what could go right, you're going to die. This is how business works too. So in trading, survival comes from pessimism, not emotional pessimism of thinking negative about yourself, not being depressive or whatever. It comes from structural pessimism. If you don't know what that means, look it up. The constant awareness of what could go wrong. And I'm going to tell you from experience as an active trader, it feels very bad. It feels restrictive. It feels like somebody's telling you what to do. And that's the point why we want to trade, for freedom, right? But when we have to use this type of logic to make money, it feels limiting and restrictive. But that's why it works. It's literally why it works. So I'm going to explain this deeply. In section number 4, why pessimism feels wrong. Okay? Most of you subconsciously reject pessimism, which is okay because we're taught that we need to have good thoughts, good vibrations, whatever. And the reason why you do this is because you associate it with negativity, because that's what we're taught to do. You think that if I focus on the downside, then I'll manifest losses. I used to think like this before I was profitable. No, if you ignore the downside, you guarantee your losses. And I need you to write that down. There's a very big difference, because in trading, pessimism is not a mindset. It's not a negative mindset. It's not a mindset at all. It's an account survival tool. Your account will blow up if you do not think like this, or if you keep rejecting thinking like this. If you keep rejecting it, it's going to happen, right? It's the thing that tells you, I've made enough money today. I'm going to stop. You just had 2 great large trading days in a row. Stop trading. It tells you you're emotionally elevated right now. You need to stop. You're up for the month, you're up for the week. Stop trading. And this is where profits start to lock in for you. Section number 5, I want to discuss gratitude and pessimism are the same coin. Have you ever heard of pessimism and gratitude and thought they were different? They're not opposite. They're 2 sides of the exact same coin. They are the same coin. They're the same thing. Gratitude says, I'm thankful for what I made in trading. Pessimism says, I'm aware of what I could lose. They're the same side. They're 2 different sides of the same coin. So they both lead to the same behavior, which is stopping. Doesn't matter what side of the coin you use. If you use either side, you're going to stop. If you're grateful for what you made, you stop. If you're aware of how fragile your profits are, then you stop, especially when you understand that if you haven't sent that money to your bank account, it's still not realized. But they only work together. Those two things only work together because you cannot be grateful and reckless at the same time. You cannot be pessimistic and overconfident at the same time. I get comments on my YouTube channel all the time. I lost money because I was overconfident. That can't exist with that at the same time. The next thing I want to talk about is why you can't stop trading when you're already up. You already made money and you can't stop. This is really the real problem, and I want to talk about this because why can't you stop when you're green? If you've already made money, why can't you stop? And I hear it all the time as the word greed. I used to call it greed. It's not really greed. It's attachment to feeling like you're winning. And you can't feel like you're winning if you stop. You're attached to feeling of being in sync with the market. You're attached to the feeling of being right. You're attached to the feeling of today is my day. I'm making so much money. And you never want that feeling to stop. So you keep trading. Eventually the market will close anyways. So if the market's going to close anyways, then you're going to have to stop at some point. But even when the quality of a setup drops, even when your emotional state is going to shift, and even when your rules say that you should stop, you don't stop because it feels too good to stop. And that's exactly why you should stop. Some people think there's never enough. And this is the part that nobody really wants to hear, but I'm going to say it anyways, is that there's never enough in trading. No amount of money will ever make you feel complete. If you make $500 today, you'll want $1,000 on your next trade. If you make $1,000, you'll make $2,500 on your next trade. If you make $5,000, then you'll just simply want $10,000 on the next trade. That desire is never going to end. Don't you understand that? So if you don't consciously set your own limits, which means to think about it, consciously set your own limits, the market will set them for you and charge you market tuition for the hassle. It will. And it's going to set them violently and charge you market tuition for that. And you don't want to pay market tuition when you already know how to trade. So the hidden reason that you overtrade, I want to discuss this too. You do not overtrade because you love trading. You overtrade because you do not trust yourself to be done and to stay off the charts. You think when you close the charts, you'll probably open them back up. You don't actually believe within you that was enough for today. You actually believe I should make more while it's working because tomorrow there might not be a setup. Next week there might not be a setup. If I'm making money now, I gotta stay in and make more money. And this is the belief that is going to literally kill you because markets don't care about your momentum. This happy-go-lucky ride that you're on, they don't care. They don't care that you're feeling hot. They don't care that you're locked in. They don't care. They will flip on you whenever they feel like it. And especially if you're feeling hot, feeling all this stuff, you're not going to see it when the flip is there. You're going to be blinded. So don't blind yourself. Ending on a good note means this. You stop while you still feel good. You don't stop when you feel euphoric and your ego is on 1,000,000 and you're on cloud 10, right? Not when you feel invincible and like you're Superman or Superwoman. You just quit when you feel satisfied and you feel good and you feel calm and you feel neutral. This is something this is something a lot of people can't even do in their real lives because that emotional state is the one thing that is going to carry you forward cleanly into your next trades. That's the state you want to start tomorrow from. You do not want to start trading that next trade or that next trading day from hype and desperation and regret and all these other things because guess what? You're going to lose your money. And like I said before, your account balance is not your money until you send it to your bank account. It's not realized yet. So this is why this is a psychological skill. It has nothing to do with money at all. It has everything to do with identity. Who are you when things are going really well? When you've had 4 wins in a row? Are you someone who can actually stop and actually decide to not trade that next day to give yourself a break to breathe? Or do you always push? Do you always need to brute force, right? That answer to that question is going to determine your equity curve, aka how much money you leave with as your P&L at the end of the month. Your bills do not take ego as a payment. And I'm going to say it again because it matters. And I don't want to say it once and let it slip. Your bills do not take ego as transaction. You can feel like a genius and still be broke. I see it. You can feel like you crushed it and still give it all back tomorrow. The only thing that matters is what you keep. The only thing that matters is the amount of money that is in your P&L at the end of the week and at the end of the month. I want to talk about the real definition of discipline. Discipline is not taking trades. Discipline is stopping. Discipline is not brute forcing it when you know you need to stop. And that's the part that you might not want to practice and you might not feel like it's necessary for you, because stopping, again, feels like weakness. It feels like you're leaving money on the table. But what you're actually leaving on the table is future loss. You're literally just leaving your losses on the table and taking your money. Wouldn't you want to do that? And I want to explain why this is so hard. And it's hard because trading is going to hijack your dopamine. Winning feels amazing if you let it. Being right feels amazing if you let it. I had to stop letting those things feel amazing to me. Seeing green numbers feels amazing. I don't even have colors on my trading platforms. I turned all of it to white, black, and gray, right? Because what happens is when you see all of those things, your brain doesn't want that to end. It invents and convinces you to have reasons to keep trading. I've heard it from the mouth of my students. It's still a good setup. I'm in the zone. I can make more. I'm already on momentum. Those are not rational thoughts. Those are dopamine protective thoughts. So your body and your brain can keep rolling on dopamine. But actually, the reward is money. You don't need ego or dopamine. You need the money. So this is the survival reframe I want to give you. That's going to probably likely change everything if you want to apply it. Your job is not to make money in trading. Your job is to survive. Simply, your money that you make, money is the byproduct of survival. And every time you protect your account, you win. You're not leaving money on the table, you're leaving your losses on the table. Here is a practical application where you may have been waiting for. Here's what this actually looks like in practice. Imagine this. So you make money, you start to feel good, and then you stop. That's it. There's not much else to it, and then you can bank the money and go spend it. Not, I want to take one more trade. I need $1 more. I'll reduce my risk so that I can just convince myself I should keep trading. If I'm not risking as much as I usually do, I'm being safe. It's not that you're just gonna watch it and wait to enter. You're just gonna keep looking at the charts. No, just close the laptop and stop. And why gratitude fixes over trading is because it's a mechanical thing. It is spiritual, but it is also mechanical. Gratitude literally says, this is enough. That sentence alone would save most accounts and could literally save every blown account from never happening to you in the future, or at least reduce them by 50 to 75%. The truth I want you to hear is you do not need more trades. You need better trades. You need better endings to your trades. That's something you really should work towards in this year of 2026. And I put together a private training that you can watch right now. It is the first link in the description box. I show you how to actually set up real stopping points that actually work, that you can walk away with 3 things you can implement immediately to your trading to apply everything you just watched in this video. So one good day doesn't turn into a drawdown. Join me there and I'll walk you through the full lesson for free. Once we walk through the free lesson, I'll also show you how to do this for yourself every single day, and you'll be able to learn how to implement this for yourself for real forever. So learn how to end on a good note, and it will change your entire trading life.